Another word for story is brand. I know, I feel weird about it too. It's like, I'm an artist, not a brand, but in fact, you are a brand. So, in today's episode on Instagram for Creatives, I'm gonna talk about how you find and communicate your story. Hi, Josie here. I'm an artist who loves color, process, and material, and social media. I love the Instagram, and I've been at it, mildly obsessed with it, for several years and have built up an audience to over 500,000 people. So it's real, people. Instagram is real. And I've been doing a series on Instagram for Creatives, how to negotiate your Instagram when you are a creative. The last episode, I talked about the fact that story and brand are kind of the same thing. And if we can reframe what we're doing into telling a story about ourselves, our practice, our art, that will be compelling for people and they'll want to follow us, they'll want to know more, they might even want to buy from us. One of the questions is, how do we go about telling our story? So I have 3 tips for telling your story on Instagram as a creative. One of the things, I am so sorry, you guys, but so many of the things that I think are like, they sound so buzzwordy, and it really does like make me feel like weird and like kind of sleazy. But they're actually, they're buzzwordy because they're true, because they work. So one of the buzzwords, I'm real sorry, is being authentic. Gah! It is so hard to talk about these things and not use cliche language. But being authentic is just bringing yourself to the table. And I'm not saying you gotta like reveal everything. You can select how you're gonna present yourself to the audience. But struggle is a big part of story. Nobody cares about a story where everything's fine. Have you ever looked at one of those scary mommy blogs? I mean, it's like, can she really love being a parent to those 3 boys in a bikini like that all the time? I don't buy it. I don't buy it. And it makes me like want to block people, it just doesn't seem right to me. So I think it is a better story when we're able to bring some of our struggle to the story. So then that's like about being authentic. Tip number 2, we've covered authenticity, and now we're gonna bring up another buzz phrase. I'm so sorry, but it's legitimately good stuff, okay? Here it is. You might have heard it before. Start before you're ready. That is hand in hand with authenticity, because authenticity means I don't have it all figured out. I don't exactly know what I'm doing. I'm just over here trying as hard as I can. And starting before you're ready is that sense of uncertainty in action. Because if we wait for things to be ready, that's just a function of perfectionism, and perfectionism never got nobody nowhere, okay? Perfectionism is not gonna help your artistic practice. It's not gonna help your Instagram. It's not gonna help your community. It's certainly not authentic. So just start. Just start. You will refine your vision as you go. And part of the joy of creating community and following people and stories on Instagram is watching their process develop over time. Tip 3 is all about being cohesive with your story. I've heard it said that you really only need 5 topics. Maybe it's 4 topics, maybe it's 6 topics. I don't know. You can play around with that, but basically there's like touch points that you always come back to. If you're an artist, then obviously it's going to be about creativity or your creation process or whatever. And then maybe some other things. If you are creating that personal identity with folks, you want to draw people in to the things that they will be used to hearing from you. And that's hard for me because I tend to forget. I'm like, oh, I just mentioned this last week. And it's like, no, not every person sees every post. And it's all part of my story. So I need to bring those facets back in. It can sometimes feel a little repetitive for me, but I think it's important to create those touchstones, those touch points. Quick anecdote, my 6-year-old daughter likes podcasts, and so then of course I also like podcasts made for 6-year-olds, and one of them is called Story Pirates. It's great. If you have a kid, they should totally listen to it. And one of the characters has this like repeated bit that they do where they talk about kefir, which is like this yogurt drink, and they're like, kefir, the champagne of dairy, and it comes up in every episode. And it's like, it's just this funny thing that they do. So you always know that this character at some point is going to mention kefir. Weird. And then there's another kids podcast called Wow in the World, another great one. It's a science podcast done by NPR. It's so good, you guys. You got to listen to it. And the characters are so well defined, and they just do the same things over and over and over again. And it's compelling. I now am invested in the stories of these cartoonish characters for kids because I'm hearing the same things over and over and over again. I think that is not a bad strategy. It's one that I need to implement a little bit more, but you should make your list. Make your list of the 5 things or the 10 things or the 3 things, and then just always orient everything back to those things because that'll help your story develop. Thanks for watching. I would love to hear, what are your 5 things? Do you have 5 things or 3 things or 10 things? I don't know. Let me know. I'd like to hear what some of those things might be. And if you like this, please like it, click it, and subscribe. And I'll see you here later. Bye. Tip 3. Tip 3, friends. I can't count.